Hey, how's it going? See what we got. Mic check, mic check, mic check. Hello, mic check, mic check, mic check. 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 Okay. I it's one of those things. At least it's working now. Uh, okay, today's gonna be the fishing stream I meant to do last weekend. Uh, I now officially have two fishing spots. Okay, now the I think the thing I had is like it's gonna be the last Pope Part 4. I might or might not do one more. Uh, and the UFO news I'm gonna do first. Uh, the the video I saw a video today, and I might do. I can't even remember what it was on. But I saw a couple good videos today. One was on the Knights Templar. Uh, the I want to get to the last Pope part, but the the podcast for the Need to Know. Again, you got to look it up. Need to Know, either Need to Know Bryce or Need to Know Ross Coulthart, Coulthart, or DT is how he spells it. And he's a journalist from Australia. But he did the podcast today, and it does sound like Mitch McConnell, or not Mitch McConnell, Chuck Schumer is still sounding like he's going to do something about it. And this is the part I found interesting. Again, uh, I don't either either he doesn't understand how they work because he doesn't live here, or because he's not a practicing lawyer. And I give him, he was trained as a lawyer, he went to school for it, but he didn't practice. And so it's not like he's done it and falsely tried to push himself off, but he has been trained by a lawyer. And because what he's talking about, and I think it's legitimate stuff, although maybe, and it could be the laws work differently in Australia than they do here. I'm not a lawyer either. I was never even trained as one, but he brought up a fact that, uh, like if you live somewhere for so many years, uh, the property becomes, I don't know if that's a fact in these states, but he's using that as an example. Well, this isn't property that they've lived on. This is property they were given by the federal government in secret. Uh, and when you look at that, I don't, again, I don't know, but I don't see how that suddenly becomes yours. And when you look at his comment, and again, I think I think he's doing a fair job. He's asking questions. He's stating it. He's not saying this is the way it has to be. He's just stating his understanding of it. But but the thing is, if what you're doing is illegal, I don't see how any part of it can then be valid. And what happened is these companies were given an unfair advantage, and they were given stuff in secret. They were allowed to work on it. They made a tremendous amount of money from it. I don't understand how any part of that is going to be legal. And this is, this goes to the case where when he goes, well, they spent their own money. Well, yeah, it was ill-gotten money. Um, and Bryce disagrees, but he's not a lawyer either, and he admits that. But I just don't understand how you can start from an illegality. Uh, and the thing that was kind of cool, though, Bryce brought it up, and even Ross had to admit that, well, yeah, that sounds bad. Uh, but any publicly traded company, and he threw that in, any publicly traded company uh, that was involved in this action, they have to disclose everything to their shareholders. So if, like, and he said hypothetically, if Northern Grumman or one of the defense contractors, If they had in possession, hypothetically, two UFOs and they didn't disclose that to their shareholders, well, everybody that sold it, anybody who sold that should be able to sue them. And the thing Bryce brought up is it's his understanding that there is companies that is working out the lawsuit for I don't know what you'd call it. I'm going to call it the unfair trade advantage. But these are companies that did not get the unfair items to work with. They were not given the contracts because they didn't have the technology that the others were given. It'd be like if back in the day, Xerox made this software for the printers, and they ended up not using it, and they gave it to Apple. I might have this wrong, but I'm in at least in the ballpark. They gave it to Apple, and it was the GUI that they later turned into the Apple computer. Gave it to Steve Jobs or whatever. He talked him into it, and it would be like if the government gave that if the government instead of Xerox had given that secretly to Apple so that they would have an advantage on Microsoft. That would be illegal. The government's supposed to be a fair actor, and the so that's what's going on there. And so the lawsuits might or might not be coming. And the other thing that I will throw out there, and this isn't really UFO, but I tweeted, well, I didn't really tweet it, I stitched out on threads a thing uh, talking about, uh, the government of the New York City and New York State should sue the bus companies. And I went on a rant, and I firmly believe this. I'm like, well, if they can put a trucker in jail for blocking traffic, why can't you put a bus company in jail or sue them for damages for bringing a bunch of immigrants to shut down the government or to bankrupt the government? And I don't know where it's going, but I said this yesterday in the morning, like, at the crack of dawn. Hi, Dawn. And today they were saying that there's a lawsuit. The mayor is gonna bring against the bus companies, and he's got the full support of the mayor or the governor. And I threw in there. I go, come on. I go, if Andrew Cuomo was still the governor, he would be all over this. I mean, I'm not a lawyer. I threw that out there. Look, I'm not a lawyer. Who knows? But Andrew Cuomo would be all over this. He would. And um okay. And like they're at least doing this much. It was this morning, and it was put like 8 o'clock at 5 or 6 o'clock. Maybe even 4 o'clock. It was saying it was I think it was a local CBS affiliate had put it up on YouTube, and it was like from 8 hours ago. So it was either like the 10 o'clock news or the 6 o'clock news. It's like holy shit. I really don't. I hope they got people smarter than me that have been advising them for. But my God, that is awesome. And it's a $700 million lawsuit against the bus companies that have been doing this. Because I go, when as soon as you guys got involved and started telling them, hey, you got to let us know you're coming, you got to drop them off. I go, they immediately were reported had changed tactics and started dropping them like on the other side of the border in New Jersey. So I go, they knew what they were doing was wrong. Yeah, I mean, they literally that's what do they call it, a mens rea of guilt or something like that. But that oh, that is sweet. And then I go, you should, and really, I don't know why you can't jail the bus drivers for doing it. And I told them again, I just in case any of this other stuff comes up, but I told them in the tweet that you should be able to sue the federal government for the money that's given to Texas, because like most of these Republican states, they can't run their they brag how the governors in these Republican states like balance the budget, and the fact is they balance the budget with the money from the blue states. Uh, the top 10 almost across the board. If it isn't, it's real close. That get in, they receive more money from the federal government than they pay in, are almost all, if they're not all, then they're almost all Republican states. And the 10 states that pay out more than they take in, if they're not all Democratic states, they're almost all. And I go, basically go after them for damages. Make them pay for it. If they're bussing them up here, they should have to pay for it. And it should be an ongoing thing. But I mean, hey, 7 million. Once these companies either go bankrupt or they have to pay that, they will probably knock it off, and you probably won't see any other ones stupid enough to do it. But I'm sorry. That's the only way these people learn. That's the only way they learn. And so I just, that was just delightful to see that. But yeah, and then I go, and if they're not one of these states that gets money from the blue states, well then go after their education money. They're clearly not doing anything with it. I go, they got these book bans. They go after that. That this money is not clearly going to education. I go, they're trying to make people just dumb enough to vote for Republicans, and they're creating Christian madrasas, and go after that money. Make them pay for their fucking governor, who's a fucking moron. Uh, Anyways, they're doing that much. I'm really good. Now the only thing is, I don't think, I really don't think it was me. But just in case, I'm going to watch what I say, because and I think they have the right to do it. But I was mostly joking on Threads. I put up that the Israeli government should tear down the rock on the mound or whatever and rebuild Solomon's Stone. Now again, I think they should. I think they have every right to, but I don't want to start World War III over it. So in the future, I won't be making suggestions like that. Just on the off chance that somebody is listening to me. Uh, oh my God, that was fucking scary a little bit, awe-inspiring, but a little terrifying. Uh, Trying to think. Oh, and so that'll bring us to our first call to action is if you write to your people in Congress, write to your president, and let them know it sounds like he's still working on it. We need, at the very least, we need Schumer's amendment to go through. We need his amendment to go through. Write them all. I think it'll only do you good to write the stuff in Washington. Uh, uh, and then I also wrote the president. And again, I don't know. I literally don't know. But I wrote the president. Um, I go with this thing with Hunter Biden. Um, I and I firmly believe this. I think it's at least I don't think it's crazy. I don't think it's like one of these things that uh when I said something and it was somebody that was either in the center or was more right leaning. Oh, don't you think that's a little too much? And I go, no, not. I go look at the things that they go look at the things they've said. I go, I think they would do it in a heartbeat. Uh, and I don't want to get. I really am trying to keep politics out, so I don't want to go. But I said no. And this one here, I I go as far as Hunter goes. I don't know what is the best legal thing to do. I don't know politically what is the best thing to do. But with him and Senator Menendez, I go. I go. I don't get why they're being prosecuted. Um, I literally don't. I go. Senator Menendez is a little bit. Now this thing, if it's true, uh, some of the evidence, it's pretty hard to really qualify. I mean, for Senator Menendez, I mean, it looks pretty bad. But what if what if they're making it up? And I go, Hunter Biden, if they really thought this was worthwhile, Trump would have done it. He would have would have basically dropped the hammer and put him in jail. Uh, so I go, when you look at Senator or not Senator Governor Fife Simondon, I think it was, might have that name wrong, but he's the governor of Arizona during the Phoenix Lights event. Um, and I go, there was a guy who was pushing back. He was trying to get to the bottom of it, and kind of like the Attorney General in Utah. And I wrote out to, and this was still on Twitter, but I wrote out to the guy. I go, hey, tell that senator that you or governor or not the governor, the Attorney General in the state, tell him to be careful because you never know what I really don't, but um, that governor of Arizona, he he basically had some charges come up as soon as he started pushing. As soon as he started using his authority to get to the bottom of those Phoenix Lights. Um, these charges appeared, and I again, he's the same. I would say he's the same as Governor or Senator Menendez. I don't know if he did it, but I can tell you this: it didn't look like they cared about pressing charges until they could use as leverage against him for the UFO issue. Uh, sound familiar? January 6th, there's still people in Congress that should already be in jail, but they didn't really seem like they gave a shit about bringing charges against them. There's people, it's the top ranking people at Abu Ghraib. Uh, they had all these people that were in sergeant and above, and some of them were not in uniform. They were either civilians or they were higher ups in civilian clothes. They didn't really seem to care about those because that came out a week or two after, a few weeks after the low level fruit were being plucked off the tree. There were pictures that were released that showed people looking away from the camera. They never even tried to give them guys to identify them. They probably knew who they were, and They didn't care. And and it just is what it is. And with Fife Simonton, it was the same thing. You know, they seemed like, I mean, if he was guilty of that, it seemed like they knew about it. It seemed like they didn't give a shit until they needed it for, you know. And here we have this issue now where this congressman is coming and he goes, well, yeah, there's people that are that are having like legal problems. It's like you know, what was it? He gave the whole story, and he's like, these people, they go somewhere, some girl laughs at their jokes, and then bam, you know, they're naked in bed with him. He had a real bad accent around the naked, and I can't do his accent, but he's basically saying that's going on right now in Congress. So don't. I mean, again, I don't think it's crazy to think that these charges against Hunter and these charges against Senator Menendez might be in order to keep the Senate in line and to keep the president in line. And I really don't know what to say. But that does appear to be what's going on. At least it's a possibility. I mean, you can't. I'm serious. You can't sit there and look at it and say, "Oh, there's no chance they're not." Give me a break. I mean, you got to join me on Earth One here. But yeah, they did that because we saw that with that governor of Arizona. The charges suddenly appeared out of nowhere, and then as soon as he started backing off, he had that little press conference where he made it look like a joke and that. As soon as he did that, all them charges magically started disappearing. Plea deals were on the table, and you know, to me, it's just wrong. But I told him, I go, in light of what's come out, uh, with Trump breaking the law, breaking the Constitution for the emoluments clause, in light of, you know, his family and others, you basically need to basically have a little heart to heart with your attorney general and you're head of the FBI, and you need to let them know. Because what do we see? We saw a career prosecutor at the DOD first went to the FBI. See how we need some FBI agents to start investigating. January 6th, you know, the attack on our Capitol. It was not a question. I mean, it was not a question at all. It was on live TV. They were building a fucking gallows. And they're like, hey, yeah, they knew we got to investigate this, and they just, oh, no, 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 so they went to the DOJ, and Garland shut them down. I go, you need to let both of those guys know they got to start treating all crime like it's serious and not worry about what MAGA is going to think about it. And stop trying to cover their ass like Comey did, or you're going to fire them for cause. It's just the way it's got to be. And the other thing is, I'd let the Republicans know, but just do it publicly. I don't know if he's going to, but I would let the Republicans know that either the Senate or the House is going to start having strong hearings. As serious as January 6th that they did in the last Congress. You're either going to start doing those on the Supreme Court, the members of Congress that tried to, overthrow the government, ones that were given recon tours and all that, or you're gonna pardon your fucking son and pardon Senator Menendez. Uh, and yeah, that's the way it should be. You should. But and again, that there, I really don't know how that is, but I don't, I really don't know if it's smart play or whatever. But to me, it's enough is enough. It just is. Uh, I don't know. It's like the stunt that's going on with the border. It's like, my God, the because they've been negotiating with them. There should have been no negotiation. They should have said the negotiation's over. We had a deal with McCarthy, and the argument was, "Oh, he's not the. I don't care. He's the one you guys elected. You guys don't get to renegotiate just because you fucking figured out the guy was an idiot. You put that guy in. He negotiated. We had a deal. There no negotiation. You don't. Next time you'll learn from next time. But that guy there, um, but I don't. I just. And to me, if they don't want to play ball, then fine. Then you start putting in your Democratic wish list. They got a two-seat majority. They're acting like they got a 98% majority in the House, and they barely got a two or three-seat majority anymore. They can only lose like two or three votes. And if they don't want to stand firm, then fine. Put the minimum wage on there. Put a whole bunch of your shit on there. It's a 50-50 deal just about. And look, look, even if it passes, they're not going to have a supermajority. The president's going to veto it, and he should be up there. We had a deal. We had a deal. You should be pushing for getting rid of that minimum wage, or not the minimum wage, getting rid of that cap on salaries for donating into the Social Security. Then bam, it's fully funded. You should basically tell them, hey, we want to reset Social Security to 55, not 58, not 60. We want to do minimum wage at 15 bucks an hour. We want to have it go up a buck a year until it gets to 20 bucks, and then put a coal on it, or put a coal on it and let it happen. Put a coal on it now. We want Social Security to be based off of minimum wage. I mean, just go in there. I go undo that damage that Reagan did, where we started taxing Social Security and we lowered taxes on the rich people. I mean, again, I'm not saying we need to do it, but if they want to keep pulling this shit where they're like every fucking every time you fucking negotiate, when they want to threaten to shut the government down, it's the only way they'll learn. It is the only, and if you have to shut it down, you shut it down. They're the ones that will take the blame for it. Uh, as long as they're not being reasonable. Now, if they were giving you everything you wanted and they were still threatening to shut it down, yeah, then you're gonna look like it. But they're asking for stupid shit. And I told them, I go, take all these things that is it polls at 55% or more, and put it in there. And it's like, my God, have universal gun control. Universal gun laws based off of Chicago or New York City, and have them enforced around the clock in the country. Fucking go for Medicare, go for universal health care. And I go, not Medicare for all. I go, say that if they want to pass this, then they got to do that. And I go, they're going to give us Social Security, or not uh health care that the government has, the Congress has. Either bring them down to us, nothing, shit, or bring us up to them. And I go and tell them that's what you're gonna hold out for. And if you don't do it, then fucking President Biden's not gonna sign whatever you send him. Or you send him the fucking bill that you already agreed on. And who knows? Maybe it'll do some good. I don't know. But that just, it's the only way they'll fucking learn. They got to stop this fucking crybaby shit. It's like the only like fucking moron, fucking mentally deficient 3-year old. I mean, it's just nuts. Okay. Um, Much of the talk about Templars is about their treasure and where it is. If I have a focus on this, it'll be where did they get it? But I'm not going to spend any time worrying about where it is now. Other people are doing that, but I'm going to focus on. They may have gotten a treasure such as the menorah. They may have found items of power such as the Ark of the Covenant. They may have found bodies and the treasure of Solomon. And because the one thing that you're gonna have to get a grip. Oh, it's okay, Patches. You can come here. Yeah. I just no, I wasn't getting up. I just got to read that. Yeah, I got to read that. See, I haven't been on much because I really haven't felt all that good. And she's been in here, and she like now she does not like me doing anything. So she doesn't like me having this controller. She doesn't like me having the headsets on. I put the hat on. She probably doesn't like that because she thinks I'm going somewhere. But the she's been wanting to sit in here. So and like yesterday, she was in and out. But it's like every time I got like something out to do, she'd come in. It's like she was waiting by the door. Um, oh, he looks like he's gonna have fun. I'm gonna go pick on him now. And they may have found documents or sources of information, heretical documents banned by the church, alternate gospels, the true history covered up by the church. Dead Sea Scrolls told people where the treasure was hidden. Maybe they had copies of documents, but the um, but like, and this is again why I think if you are seeking the truth, you really don't need to go through the Bible because, like I said, there's historians that'll tell you that it's not the way the Bible is now. It's not anything like it is intended. And there's a if I'm gonna if there's enough there, I will do it as a standalone. I don't think there is. Maybe I can do it. Oh, Patches, if you gotta get sick, you gotta get down on the floor. Yeah, you got to get down on the floor. I can clean it up easier if you get down on the floor. Yeah. Yeah, you're going to have to get down on the floor. Yeah. When you get sick, I will come clean, but you got to do it somewhere. Yeah, you got to do it on the floor. You can't do it on me in the chair. But she seems to she seems to understand most of the time. But sometimes I swear it's like it's like someone's forcing themselves to throw up. But if you really want to get to the truth of the Bible or whatever, I think you really. I mean, again, maybe you won't find anything there, but I think a better place to look is the stuff that was excluded from the Bible, rather than the stuff that's been included in the Bible. Because the way they talk is, see, nobody was really rewriting the stuff, the apocryphal, the Gnostic stuff. Uh, where the stuff that was in the Bible, they were clearly, there's evidence of it. They were clearly doing an edit job on it. They rewrote it, and so those I think you can just throw right out. But you might be able to find some truth in the Gnostic or the Apocrypha. And Templars were tasked with protecting the area for travelers, protecting an area. But for 9 years or more, they were set only to dig under the old temple grounds. There's no evidence they actually protected people, and, and this is another thing. Like, was the Templars acting on their own, or were there uh, people that were behind what they were doing? Uh, the Lance of Long. This one, I could not understand that guy, and I tried rewinding it back like 4 or 5 times. The guy wasn't very loud, and he mumbled and stumbled with his words, probably worse than I do. But it is the Lance of Longinus, the Christianized version. I think it was called the Spear of Destiny, maybe was what the Christian called it. Uh, but it was if not, the Spear of Destiny might be a different thing. But uh, this Lance of Longinus, I have no, I'm not even sure if I'm right, but the documentary that I was watching, the guy that he was just a mumbling fat fuck. I couldn't understand what he was saying. But the Lance of Longinus, uh, if you're holding it, you can't be defeated. They might have been going there for that, and whatever they found when they left, they were cited by the Times as being more powerful than the Pope. And that's I'm not making that up. That was the thing of the Times that they were saying. The one author there, run reporter there, said they were more powerful than the Pope when they left. This made them powerful and arrogant. And the French king, he ended up owing them a lot of money. Uh, and if you've heard of Friday the 13th, well, the Friday the 13th is the day that the French king put his plan into action to kill the Knights Templar. Uh, he and I don't know if I personally don't know. There is speculation that the Pope did it, but I don't know if the Pope was in on it or if he was just a useful idiot. But I used to hear this. Used to hear this back in, well, basically since I've heard this story, that the French king made up this stuff and accused him of this stuff. Uh, that they were worshiping. I can't think of the god's name. It's like the god of. It was either a different god or it was a demon, and they were worshiping him, and they were doing other unholy things. They're basically painting him as uh, not like Christian like. And the Pope went along with it. I don't know if he honestly believed that or if it was just a means to an end. And There was a documentary. It was on the Discovery or Travel Channel or something. My brother recorded it, and that one there, they showed the temples, some of the temples that the Templar had built. Again, I'm not accusing them, but a lot of the stuff that they had, like in the window gratings and other stuff that was included in their architecture, they built it. It sort of lended itself to the accusations. But again, and this is why I'm including this with the last pope. Um, Maybe this is stuff that the Vatican is in trouble for what they're doing. For what they're basically what did they feel or what did they find that made them so powerful? Um, because these pictures they should have been fucking went after right away, and they were allowed to go on. It was illegal to charge interest on money. They were allowed to do it because they weren't charging interest on, or they weren't paying interest on money or whatever. They weren't they were allowed to do stuff regular bankers wouldn't. But see, they were charging rent for you to store your stuff with them, and they were allowed to do it. Nobody else was allowed to do it. This is one of the reasons why they became so rich. They were a power unto themselves. And um but that was what was going on. And but uh but when I talked about it the other way, the last time I was on, I was talking about there were clearly these people that have came forward, like with the saint who had the Pope prophecy, uh, the Fatima. They never went to the church itself. They went to those kids. They went, this just church. This priest was pissed off at the way the church lived. The people in the Vatican, people in the Holy See, they were living at large. And after he got there and after he saw the way they were living, well, then he had his prophecy. And so if you believe with the church, and the church sainted that guy, um, the church, basically sanctified the Fatima here, the Fatima children, and you have to find, if you find that, if you believe in God, then you got to believe in what the church is telling you. Well, they're the ones that didn't see this. They didn't get these messages. These messages were given to literally poor little priests, these children. They went as far from the power structure of the church to give these. Um, Maybe the church itself is just bad. Maybe there. I mean, you had because again, I don't know if it was back in the day, but they knew, if this was all seeing, if this was all knowing, they knew the pedophile priest was coming. They knew that was coming. If it wasn't going on back then, it was coming. Uh, they knew about they knew about the Vatican or the Vatican bank dealing with the mob. And again, maybe it might not have been going on then, but they knew it was coming. If it was a prophecy, you can't sit there and say, oh, they saw the future so they could warn everybody, but they didn't see what was going on in the future. Um, they knew Notzinger was coming. They knew John Paul II was coming. They knew all this, and they now again, maybe it's the end. Maybe they knew this bishop, the one we got now, the pope now. Maybe they knew he was the one that was going to fix it, and we just had to wait. And and you see this. It's I don't know. I just I and then I was going to talk about the cover Sinclair, and but I don't. I'm going to talk about it, but I'm not as confidently because I have seen these going back to like the 80s, uh, 80s or the early 90s, and you hear these stories that they were like, oh, this Sinclair was this poor priest and he was living on a stipend, and then all of a sudden, he found something. And again, they're just like the Templars. We don't know what he found. We really don't know what he found. And but again, he had to find something because it sounded like he became rich. That was the story. I've never heard anyone dispute it. All the documentaries, and I've seen plenty, all the ones told the same story. Well, when I looked it up, because when I was doing my notes for this, I wanted to go over that, and I didn't really think I needed to. And one, I couldn't find the documentary I had seen the other day, but what I found out, and this is the first time I've ever seen it. Well, they were making out like the Sinclairs were a rich family. There wouldn't have been like a priest living on a stipend, really really poor, trying to make ends meet. It was like this rich Scottish family in northern Scotland, and they built the church, and I'm like, what? That was the first time I've ever heard that. And they kept it as private. They maintained the upkeep on it. It's the one that's featured in the Da Vinci Code. They drive it down. They said that like to go down into it there was a star or something. Well, they put that in, and then the glue they used, it came off. I think they pulled it off. The people there didn't want it there anymore. But the glue pulled all the dirt, so there's this clean spot, and they call it the Da Vinci. They got a name for it, and it's based on the movie, but they added that to it so that they could make the thing more jazzed up for the movie. But I don't know. But the thing that because they were all talking about the 14th and 15th century. And I really wish I could get to the bottom of this. I really wish I could. But it sounds like the Templars might have built it in the 16 in the 1100s, like year 1100 and change. Uh, it sounds like they might have built it then. And there was a whole bunch of shit. Like during the Protestant Reformation, it was closed down. Somebody was keeping livestock in there, and then in the 14 or 1500s, I think they refurbished it. Well, that priest might have been there first, and his name was Sinclair. And again, this is all me. I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe he was a priest. Maybe he had family, and all of a sudden now they're rich. He died. He did die, and it makes me wonder because again, he was given that money, and you can make the argument or not, but if the story is true, and I really don't know, but if the story is true, uh, he was a poor priest, and then boom, overnight, he was magically rich. He was spending money like a fucking drunken sailor coming out of a fucking whorehouse. And uh, maybe they learned their lesson from the Templars, and they gave him a. And he built. It sounds like he built the. It seems like he built the family estate, maybe, and they got a name for it, and I can't think of it. But maybe he created the Sinclair or family with the clan. Maybe that's where they got their start, and he gave them money, his family, and when he was killed, they persisted, and it would have been nice if he would have told them because it sounds like they don't know. Uh, but I don't know which side to believe. I don't know how it all fits together. But that's the thing that was going on. Now, if I get a chance to watch it again and take some notes on it, I saw uh, there was a Unearthed America or something like that. It's a show that used to be on the History Channel. There's one where the Templars came to America, and he thinks they came about 1,000 years before Columbus, and he had evidence. I don't know if I'll be able to do that into a whole uh, thing or not, but that I will sort that out and maybe do a thing on that. And I'm trying to see if hang on. I don't know if it's a new one or if it's an old one that I can't remember for sure if I watched it. But but it was a husky dog. They could get a dog. They said they'd be fun. They said, and it's ginger. I don't know. Ginger cat doesn't sound like it's a familiar one to me. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Uh, Unearthed Knights Templar relics discovered. Okay, here's another one. Now this one here I might do on a, but I might do a full podcast on. But let me get this thought going through your head. Uh, there there has been some of these things that some of them have talked about. Some have talked about it talked about the issue in general, and they put this thought in my head. Um, you have you have like one issue where they're talking about, like, they'll talk about Zeus and Odin and whatnot, and that's like like I said, I can maybe do a podcast or two on that, but that one there is like a pretty. You can do a podcast on that and just talk about how those are all the same. It's like they're the same people that they just dealt with different cultures. Because like Odin and Zeus are fairly similar. Thor and Hercules are pretty similar. And the Roman and the Greek gods are the same. It's just the Romans renamed them. But the thing that you gotta, at least in my mind, you gotta think of, you think of these and you think of, well, it's all made up. It's all mythology. They just found, according to some of these videos I've seen, I haven't, I'm not staking my reputation on it, but they've got these videos online where they have just found the tomb of Gilgamesh, and the the guy, he's one of the guys who's doing an interview on that was shown on YouTube, but he's from the Gaia channel, and he was talking about like these all these five original cities, and they basically were found. They're the five. They're the five. The first five cities of. I can't remember the name of the. They're mentioned in like the one of the cities was mentioned in Gilgamesh. It's like the guy goes, it's my, he goes, it's not really known by a lot of people, but he goes, it's my favorite book in Gilgamesh. And he talked about, there was a guy that sounds an awful lot like Noah, and he came and he talked to the king or the leader, and I don't know. Basically, it's their civilization, and I don't know. Might be Babylon, but they had these five cities, and he goes, well, they were always assumed to be a myth, and he goes, well, I got to let you know that the city of Athens, or the city of Troy, or whatever, the story of Troy was considered to be mythology, and then they found out that it was real when they found the city, and these ones were considered to be uh, mythology, just a story. And then they turned up. Lot, or Sodom and Gomorrah, they dug those up. And then they're like, oh, now we're a little more sure that they existed. And when you look at the mythology, this is something that was they were showing. Uh, they've got like the Zeus, you've got the Titans. With Odin, you have the giants, the Etten. And what if they're not myths? That's the only thing I'm saying is, and maybe I'll do a podcast if I can piece together enough information to make it worth doing. Like I'd like somewhere like 45 minutes to at least an hour to do it. But like, and then when you look at the angels and Satan, and Satan being a fallen angel, well, in the book of God, I think it's Enki. In the book of Enki, he talks about these things called the Watchers, and they were from outer space, or whatever you want to call it, and they were left here to watch us. Well, what if somebody wanted to make them look bad? maybe Satan and or Lucifer or whatever, maybe they're the watchers. Maybe this is what yeah, they fucked up, because these watchers, they had sex with with human women, and then they created the Nephilim, which is the giants. And that's why that's one of the reasons they say was a reason for the flood in the book of Enki or whatever. uh, they weren't supposed to do that. And what if that's one of the things that the Vatican and that was told they had to change? Maybe they didn't know, but maybe these people didn't like the wholesale of their culture. Yeah, it may be Lucifer or whatever you want to call him. Maybe he did screw up, but this idea of painting him out to be a demon or no, he was a watcher. Again, I'm not saying that that's what it is or what it isn't, but it's at least as plausible as anything else. And then, but hang on, let me see if I can get. Okay, then there. Now I ain't gonna be able to do a whole. Maybe I'll piece together like a bunch of these and do them out in one. But the David Grush was interviewed by News Nation, and he was flat out asked because there was rumors that he was if the government has killed people to keep the UFO secret, and he said that's what he has a claim of, and he doesn't know firsthand if they've done it or not, but he had them tell their story to people in a manner of law enforcement so they could be that they could be looked at. But and that was another thing. I think it was Lou Elzana. They were losing me. I'm not saying it's their fault. But I'm saying they were losing me because they were talking about Lou Elizondo and David Grutch back and forth, and I got kind of confused. I'm not saying it should have been confusing, but it was. And but on the Need to Know podcast, they were talking about I think Lou Elizondo, and he's got his book coming out, and he's there. It's taken longer. I think they thought they'd be able to publish it, but um, in light of his understanding of how this works, what he's going to do is the stuff that they don't allow, the stuff that they tell him to remove from the book. What he's going to do is he's going to black it out, and he's going to leave it in there what they wouldn't allow him to talk about. That is fucking huge because normally they just take it all out. He's going to leave it in as blacked out language so that you will get to see how much they're holding back. And you'll be able to see the conversation like goes from here, then all the blacked out stuff, and then it goes to here. I think that's cool. Now this one here was on. Okay, yeah, I think he did the interview with News Nation. I might be wrong, but The Hill is the one that covered the story, and The Hill has another. And again, I don't necessarily trust these, so to trust this and definitely verify. But The Hill has got this got Avi Loeb. I trust that guy. At least until he gives me a reason to. He's a Harvard University Dr. Avi Loeb. Uh, apparently, there was a UFO near Air Force One. That's kind of creepy out there. But yeah, they got that one, and so again, maybe I'll just do these. Okay, this is the one that I got. I might watch both of them and just do one podcast on it. Uh, America Unearthed Knights Templar relics uncovered in New England. Okay, and that's the one I watched it this morning. Yeah, now this is I gotta say these ones here I don't maybe I'll try and watch it and if I'm gonna do all these other ones I can try but it's Space Explained and you get this Amumu is returned and it's not alone and then you go and watch it and I don't think I watched the whole thing yet and I almost don't bother watching them because they turn out to be shit. There's absolutely nothing about Oumuamua coming back. It's like clickbait, and I don't know. I might not. And then the Need to Know Bot podcast. I might watch that one and do. Yeah, that's about all the. That's about all I found on the one on this. But yeah, that I'm gonna try and fish a little bit more. I'm gonna go and end the stream. I had a good long stream. I'm getting better. That shit that I went through. Oh my god! I don't know if I'm ever gonna fully recover from it. But my god, that was just bad. But peace out, and I hope everybody has a great day. And I might even do another fishing stream tomorrow. I'll see if I need time to recover. If I don't have time to type up another one, I won't. But peace out and have a good day.